big news this weekend. The Robert Mueller report has now been turned in, and it appears that there are no more indictments. Boy, am I fine. I did not get indicted by the Mueller team. I am the happiest guy in America tonight. Not that there was anything that connected me to Russia, but apparently nothing that connected the president to Russia either. So there you go. All this time and all this money and a big goose egg over there. By the way, I understand that CNN and MSNBC have gone off the air this weekend. With the Mueller report out and no indictments, they have absolutely nothing to say. Nothing. Well, this week I made a quick trip to Israel. Well, as quick as I could make it. I left Sunday night, arrived Monday night, spent all day Tuesday with Prime Minister Netanyahu to encourage him in his election that's coming up in just a few weeks. Then I got back on a plane Tuesday night and flew home, arriving Wednesday afternoon. Now, I went with the Prime Minister by helicopter to the ancient city of Shiloh. Over there they call it Shiloh. That's where Eli the high priest oversaw the original tabernacle where the Ark of the Covenant was kept over 3,000 years ago. And it's also where Hannah prayed for the birth of her son Samuel. Now, for those who question the Jews' historical connection to the land that God promised them, a trip to Shiloh will help answer those questions. The historical and archaeological evidence is overwhelming. After that, I went with the Prime Minister to visit the family of a rabbi who was murdered by a terrorist in Samaria. This rabbi has 12 children ranging in age from 21 down to a year and a half. I got to tell you, it was a sobering reminder of the dangers that Jewish families face from terrorists. And what happened was the rabbi saw a man, this terrorist, stab an Israeli soldier and then try to shoot another soldier with the soldier's own gun that he had wrestled from him. The rabbi saw this, courageously circled back to try and stop the attack, but he was murdered as he tried to intervene. I want to tell you something. I've known Benjamin Netanyahu for many years, even when he wasn't the prime minister. I've watched him stand boldly at the hostile environment of the United Nations to urge that worthless body to stop Iran from building nuclear bombs. I've heard him speak to the U.S. Congress in one of the most riveting speeches ever delivered in the House chamber. But I'm not sure I've ever seen a leader more effective than when he tenderly and compassionately spoke to the members of a simple family who were grieving over the loss of a husband, son, and father who was killed sacrificing himself to save a soldier. Now, we're instructed to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and I hope you do so. But while I would not have the audacity to instruct the people of Israel as to how to vote in the upcoming election, I would simply note that they are blessed with a strong and steady hand at the wheel of their country who has been relentlessly attacked by political enemies who were unable to argue better policies. So they resorted to attacking him personally, as well as in the legal system. By the way, if that sounds familiar, it's sort of what we've come to see in U.S. politics. When you can't win the debate on the issues, you try to win an election based on smart or sometimes even underhanded political tactics. And when you can't win because your tactics aren't effective, or maybe you don't show up at the states where you need to get the votes, then the only thing left to do is engage in vicious personal attacks in order to distract the voters. And when people can't accept the results of an election, then they resort to what we see both in the U.S. as well as what the Israelis are seeing in their country. The abuse of the law to smear elected leaders by weaponizing police agencies like the FBI and the Department of Justice and try and simply overturn the will of the voters. Now, the Israeli election is important for us. You say, how? Well, the steady hand of this prime minister has made Israel, the Middle East, and America safer. Now, he's been accused of some things that are serious, but most of them unsubstantiated, and some of the things that are just plain absurd. American politics, well, aren't the only blood sport in the world. It's happening to our ally Israel. Their election is not really about the left and the right. It's about up and down. It's whether they're going to continue their robust economy, a strong resistance to a nuclear Iran, and an unapologetic protection of their people by rigid border security. They're simply the tip of the spear at Iran's quest to destroying Israel, the United States, and then setting fire to the rest of the non-Shiite world. So what happens halfway around the world? It really does matter. And by the way, 2 days after I was there, President Trump courageously did what I had hoped previous presidents would have done: finally acknowledge after 52 years that the Golan Heights was in fact part of Israel and not disputed land. And like him or not, if you support Israel, you've got to give credit to President Trump for doing more to stand with Israel in 2 years than any other president has done in the previous 71 years combined. And by the way, if you believe the Bible, then you will surely believe that it said in Genesis 12, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I can't speak for you, but I'd rather be on the receiving side of God's blessing than the receiving side of His curse.